You staying afloat?
Staying afloat.
You videoing the camera?
I'm videoing the video. I'm not videoing the video.
Wait, what is...
Hi, I'm Steve Stalacci. Oh, that's not me, that's you.
Hi, it's happening. I'm Johnny. Nah,
That's a bad accent, man.
brutal.
That's a bad accent.
That's us trying to impersonate each other.
Tell you what, do your intro.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Helix users. What's up? I'm Steve Stalacci,
I'm Jonny Lee.
and we wanted to show you guys, or not show you guys, because they don't actually have the physical units. Maybe one or two inside, but we haven't actually seen the physical unit yet. But we wanted to talk about what Line 6 is announcing today at NAMM 2020. We're about to go in on the Thursday. By the time this goes live, everything will be open, and I'm sure you guys will see other stuff, but we wanted to give a little first-hand look about the information that we have and talk to you guys about the new features of the
Pod Go.
Pod Go.
Go, 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 Pod Go. So my first question will be, who's it aimed at? If you look at the Pod Go, who's it for?
And you also got to think about what it is. So it's not Helix 2.0, as a lot of people were hoping for, but I still think that's like a couple years out. I think Helix has so much life left in it, but I think it'll be targeted towards, I definitely think it's a gigging musician piece, but it's also a home user piece because it's not as big. We'll check the exact specs, but it's definitely smaller, and it's basically the new updated version of the hugely successful Pod series that has come out before the Helix.
I still own the original Pod. I've still got the original kidney Pod. It's one of them things that if it's in the house, you will still plug into it and, you know, it's still got usable tones. Obviously, this unit isn't the same firmware. It's still HX firmware, so you're still getting an essence of the Helix and the HX Stomp goodness, but with a foot pedal as well, which is kind of cool.
It's nice that they added an expression pedal to the smaller version. So cool things that we found out about it already. It's a 9 block, so it's not like the Stomp where it's only 6, but not as big as the Helix. So I think 9 blocks is a cool number because a lot of people were a little upset that the Stomp is stuck at 6. So I think having 9 is a solid number. It can load IRs, so you can still get all the IR goodness that you want. Something cool that it has that I think is going to be a good selling feature is it's got an amp out. So you have a special dedicated block that's going to be an amp send. So a lot of people ask questions, how do I go to an amp on stage and front of house at the same time, but you want to send your IR to the front of house and you want to send your signal to an amp on stage? You now have a dedicated block for that amp out. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the fact that you can still run it 4 cable method as well, if you wanted to utilize the way that it works in that way. But I'm impressed with the way that it looks so far. It's one of them units that do I need one? Probably not. Will I get one? I definitely will. Yeah, I think it would be good just to kind of have as one of them oh crap moments where you can just dive into this unit and take it for what it is, and I don't know, it looks pretty cool in my book. I didn't think that I would like it as much as I do, but I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it and kind of putting it through its paces, and the extra blocks in there as well, more than the HX Stomp, is pretty cool in my book. But I'm not a big IR user. I'm kind of all about the stock cabs.
When you learn how to use them,
you learn how to use the stock cabs.
That's right. Awesome. Now we have the music starting downstairs. But yeah, also it doesn't have XLR outs from what I'm reading. It's a stereo 1/4 inch out, similar to the HX Stomp, and it doesn't support VDI, so it doesn't support for Variax users. And what else we got? What else is like something cool here that we got? It says all HX models, so according to what we have, it does say that it includes all the HX models. It does have an input gate, just like the Helix does. There are a couple of exclusions, though, for DSP heavy effects and amps, right? What are the exclusions on here?
It's good that we're trying to read the specs without showing it on the camera, because we've got everything that we need to know here. But pretty much, I would say that 90% of what you would be doing with Helix and what you would be doing with HX Stomp, you can still achieve with the Pod Go. it's not going to be limited kind of as HX Stomp was, because you got that 6 blocks, but obviously Steve's got some great tips for not taking up blocks in certain situations, and his routing stuff. Do you say routing or routing?
Routing. Americans say routing.
It's routing.
Routing.
So the fact that you can do a little bit more than the HX Stomp, my question would be, is this going to make HX Stomp a little bit redundant? I hope not, because I always rely on HX Stomp, and I can get a really good tone just out of 6 blocks. But I think for me, that using that expression pedal, whether it be for volume or pitch whammy or wah, you know, that's going to seal the deal for me, I think.
I think it's definitely a good, lesser expensive alternative to the full Helix, that someone doesn't want to sacrifice a lot with the HX Stomp. Like, I see the HX Stomp, yeah, you can gig with it and do it as a standalone, but I still see it as a pedal board unit, like to be in conjunction with the rest of your pedals. This seems like a good mini version of a Helix type of thing that can get, I mean, from what I'm reading about it, it seems like it could do a lot of stuff that the Helix can do without as many ins and outs.
Also, it's not available yet. It's not like a normal NAMM release where it will be shown on the first day of NAMM like today, and then, you know, a couple of weeks down the line it's in dealers. This is scheduled for April, so you still got a little bit of time to kind of catch the YouTube demos and stuff like that when they come out, and you know, feedback from beta testers and stuff like that in the forums.
So this is strictly an announcement that they're releasing it. So we're not totally sure if we actually have any hardware units inside that we're going to be able to mess with, but this is what we're announcing, or what they're announcing, and what we wanted to share with the world here. So another amazing thing, the price. So the MSRP is like, I think it was like $650, but the street price that they are going to put this out for, where did it say this now?
It was like 6, I think it was like 6.
That was MSRP. Was
yeah.
$629.99 US dollars is the MSRP, but the street price is going to be $450 US dollars. Yeah.
So in UK terms, that's going to be less again, and that is a lot of bang for your pound. I can't say bang for your buck, but it's a lot of bang for your pound. I will definitely be looking at one of these, definitely 100%.
Bang for your pound might mean something else in the US.
Bang for your pound, yeah. That was a series of videos I used to watch in my teen years.
But yeah, so you could also, they're also going to add support for the marketplace. So there's going to be presets, like professional presets that you guys can buy for it. It's also going to have a desktop editor, similar to HX Edit. They're calling it PodGo Edit, and that should be live by the time it ships.
That's not annoying at all, is it?
Yeah.
Guy setting up a table tennis thing.
Just play it out. Just play it out. Okay, so I have the caveats. The effects that it says any HX type, so it seems like any HX effect or amp model is going to be in it. The exceptions would be the Tone Sovereign, the Clawthorn Drive, and the Cosmos Echoes. All the distortions, dynamics, pitch, and synth blocks are mono only. All the other effects are stereo only. So, I mean, that's pretty cool that that's the only limitation compared to, you know, what's available in the Helix.
But again, everything's workable, isn't it? You know, it's never going to cause anybody a problem. And if you were getting a problem out of this unit or the HX Stomp, then maybe Helix LT or the full-blown Helix is going to be your thing.
It's not going to take me away from the full Helix. I definitely don't see that happening. But for someone that is maybe trying to dip their toes into the modeling world and maybe like an entry-level Helix type of thing.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, who's it aimed at? I wouldn't necessarily say it was aimed at just at beginners for coming into the modeling world, because I think it's going to be that simple and that easy to use. That's kind of what they've built it on, the fact that it will be kind of just twist and go. Whereas the full-blown Helix is probably a little bit more complex in the early days if you're using it. But serious musicians are going to be using this as well, especially on fly gigs. Obviously, Steve does a lot of European tours.
I could definitely see taking this as a backup unit, or even maybe if I'm playing a show that I just need to carry as minimal stuff as possible, it's definitely usable. Another cool, like it says right here, some of the cooler Helix features You're going to have color switch rings. You have snapshots, which are the biggest game changer for me personally with the Helix.
Yeah.
So snapshots are in. Copy and paste the block. 3-second foot switch assignment, 3-second controller assignment, foot switch swap, multi-channel USB audio, reamping. It's all in there. So it's still going to be a recording interface too, which I use all the time on the Helix. So that's a really nice feature.
Just going to say off topic as well. Early in the morning, California is cold.
It's a little chilly out here.
It's very cold right now. It looks lovely because the sun's out, and you know, I'm typically being that British guy in like t-shirt and shorts, but it's cold.
Okay, so
it's
also
cold.
the size is let's talk about the exact size. We have 14.3 inches wide, 9.1 inches in depth, I guess that is, and 3.5 inches in height, 5.2 pounds. So that's pretty significantly smaller than a Helix or an LT. So I definitely like that. This is more like a backpack friendly type of thing where you could just throw this in like a backpack or a suitcase and just
I think looking at it though, the more that you kind of look at the actual unit itself, which we're not going to show you.
Well, I think we can by the time it goes live.
Can we do that?
Oh, yeah.
I think we should do that then.
I think we can.
I think some people may favour this instead of the Helix if you're kind of a simple tone builder like I am. If you've downloaded any of my tones off Custom Tone, everything's kind of very basic and very simple. This will be the unit for that. So I think if you do full-blown Helix and you don't want to do stuff that's like overly complex, then this could be the unit for you, definitely. But the question is, should we show it?
Yeah, we have to.
I think we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show the picture.
Do you want to walk in and just?
No,
like,
I'm gonna copy and paste it.
Yeah.
And put it in.
Make them wait till the end.
So the layout is also more like the LT screen. So the LCD screen is very similar to the Helix LT. So it's colored blocks. There's no scribble strips.
No.
Scribble strips, I guess, that's a pretty premium upgrade that you should go for a Helix for if you really want that. I like having the scribble strips.
Yeah.
I don't want to remember where I put things, but it also has the same order on the screen that you could see.
I think, like we've said in live streams and stuff like that as well, Helix for me, we're nearly 5 years in with Helix. I've never ever kind of looked over the fence at other modelers. I've stayed true and faithful to this modeler because it does everything that you want it as a professional musician to do. And things like snapshots, variax control, scribble strips, all of these things you're searching for in the analog world when you were labeling stuff up on your EQ pedal as a solo boost and short delay, long delay with like little bits of paper. You know, that time has gone now, and Helix has secured people good enough to stay with the product just with them little simple things, snapshots, variax control and scribble strips. I just can't see me debunking at all away from that unit. You know, it's been too long. It's like a reliable wife.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any other piece of tech that you look at is like, it's 5 years old already, and it's still like at the top of the conversation in almost any, you know, modeling or digital conversation that, you know, if you're not using an amp on stage, it's always in the mix, and it's still 5 years old. So I still think a lot of the other companies coming out with stuff are still playing catch up to a 5-year-old technology, which I think is going to make, I mean, I'm all for the new modelers coming out and the new stuff that's pushing the limit and it's pushing Line 6 to make the next generation even better. But I still think that's a few years out, and I think it's going to like blow everything away when it comes out. But until then, I can't imagine life without my Helix. And
no. Like I say,
totally
I think Helix for me is kind of like a reliable wife, and HX Stomp is kind of like a dirty girlfriend. But as a disclaimer, I don't have a dirty girlfriend. I don't want one. I have
From what you've heard,
I've got a very nice wife.
El Wifey. You all know El Wifey.
You all know El Wifey. But yeah, let's go run around NAMM and see some cool stuff.
Yeah. So any questions you guys have, put them in the comments, and we'll get back to you. Also, subscribe to Johnny's channel. What is it? At John Lee.
Link in the description.
You can say it too. And
it's just Jonny Lee guitarist, but yeah, the link's somewhere. Do you do that? Like, do you put it in the corner or do you put it down below? It's got to be there somewhere.
I think it's this corner.
It'd be there.
That's a card. I can link your video here.
Yeah, it's there.
I think I have to do it this way. Down there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's go check out NAMM. Thank you guys for watching. Okay.
Just pulls in all the
audio check. You have to slide over more. I gotta slide over more. Either way. So yeah, just talk, I guess, regular size voice, and we'll just check the audio, how it's coming out.
Audio check.